Jesus, did you hear about the Bitcoin? It's nearly gone up to 50 grand, lads. 50 grand.
Yeah, I'm going to wait for it to go down to about $10, $15, and I'd say I'll probably try and short it, and I'll be able to then buy it for $10, and it should go back up then to 30, 40 grand, and that stage you'll be able to get Land Rover Discovery or something like that.
Hi everyone and welcome to KRYPTALK, that Irish guy that talks about Bitcoin. So this has been a historic week for Bitcoin. Not only did it break $50,000 for the first time, but it topped out over $52,000 last night. So as of last night, everyone who's ever bought and held Bitcoin is in profit. And it's not alone. Ethereum, Polkadot, Cardano, CHAINLINK, they're all hitting all-time highs. So in this episode, we're going to take a look at how MicroStrategy seeks to buy another $900 million worth of Bitcoin, how BLACKROck are dabbling into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and how people keep comparing Bitcoin to the TULIP Mania bubble 300 years ago. But most importantly, I'm going to show you how to grow your Bitcoin position using Ethereum, CHAINLINK, Cardano, and Polkadot. Let's get started. This is episode number 35, and the title of this episode is How to Trade Altcoins to Get More Bitcoin. But before we do that, take a quick look at this. So this is the KRYPTALK YouTube channel. Go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell notification icon and set it to all. That way, every time I upload a video, you'll get a notification. You can stay up to date with the latest Bitcoin price action and news. You can also follow me on Twitter at KRYPTALK2 and Instagram at KRYPTALK_. Charts. Okay, let's get the basics out of the way. This is the Kraken chart. These are 1 hourly candles and Bitcoin is trading at $51,932. Down a little from the all-time high yesterday, which is $52,779, represented by this dashed red line here. Let's just take a quick look and see how far we are off that all-time high. Right, so from where we are now, just under $52,000, we're about $850 off the all-time high, 1.63%, not that much. Have a look at a few of these indicators. So this ribbon here, this orange and red ribbon, so this is the EMA ribbon. It's taking a nice healthy bounce off this on the hourly, so that looks okay. Now remember this two green lines and the red line in the middle, these are called Bollinger Bands. Bitcoin seems to be trading just about the basis of the Bollinger Band, doesn't look too overextended here on the hourly at least. And then the RSI here, so the RSI down here trading at 55, so that's not too bad at all, so that looks all right. Now switching to the 4 hourly, we get a similar story. So look at the three indicators again. Bitcoin trading above the EMA ribbon on the 4 hourly. The Bollinger Band that's inside doesn't seem overextended, but it's above the middle or the basics. And the RSI coming up a bit closer, but at 66. Again, not too overextended there. And taking a look at the daily, we see it's inside the Bollinger Bands, above the basis, and the EMA ribbon is well above the EMA ribbon. And the RSI, now the RSI is 75, it's gradually creeping up into that overbought territory. Right, so I've zoomed out a little bit. I'm sticking with the daily chart, but I want to show you a little bit more about the RSI. So at the moment it's 73.84. Over 70, it's a sign it's kind of starting to get a bit overbought, a bit overextended. Sign of correction is taking place, but it's kind of gone up just above 70 and traded sideways, which is good. So that's safe enough, because Bitcoin can go up into the 70s, even the 80s for periods of time before taking a correction. Just going to show you this example. So here, look at the 8th of January. That's when Bitcoin hit its all-time high, or previous all-time high of like $42,000, right? And if you look at the RSI was 89.43, so it was overextended, and then the crash happened. It was about 30% crash from the top, and look what happens to RSI. It goes down, resets itself, trades sideways a bit, consolidates, and that's what you want, because you don't want it ranging straight up to like 80, 90, because it's just going to crash. Okay, so that looks okay. Now the last indicator I'm going to take a look at is the MACD. Now have a look at that here. So you have two lines, right? So two like moving averages, right? So you have the blue line, then the orange line. Typically when the blue line is above the orange line, when that cross happens, it's called a bullish cross. So when the blue line's above the orange line, it's a sign that a trend reversal and that it's in a bull trend and the price is going to increase. And of course, these are all daily candles. So here we're in the middle of that. You can kind of judge if these two lines get close together and it looks like the orange is going to go above the blue. That's called a bearish cross, and it's kind of a sign of a trend reversal. But at the moment, they're kind of, they're going sideways, but they're not actually, doesn't seem to be converging or diverging, just trading sideways there. So that's okay as well. All right, and the last thing I want to do is I just want to remind you about my short-term target and my longer-term target. Right, so the short-term target, I had Bitcoin breaking out here of this, what I deemed an ascending triangle. I know people said it was a rising wedge, but it's fair enough, but I think it was kind of more like an ascending triangle. So my short-term target is 55,000. I think that's going to happen based on the indicators that I've I've shown you today and all the bullish news coming out. Now, my long-term target is $88,000. I made a video on this a few weeks back and a few months back as well. I'm going to drop 2 of the links here, so if you're watching, maybe just check it out. And I'm actually going to do a video which outlines not the target itself, but when, roughly, just for fun, a prediction, an estimation of not only what target it's going to hit 88,000, but when. That's it for the charts for today. Let's take a quick look at some of the main Bitcoin stories from this week. There's a lot of news to get through, so I'm just going to fly through these. I've read these articles so you don't have to. That's kind of the whole idea. First article by CoinDesk, and the headline reads, MicroStrategy boosts latest debt for Bitcoin offering to 900 million. The gist of this is they bought, when I say they, MicroStrategy have bought 70,784 Bitcoin to date. That's worth 3.6 billion, and they're looking to add another 900 million's worth. And then you have a photo there of Michael Saylor when he didn't have grey hair. The second article by CNBC, and the headline reads, BlackRock's Rick Reeder says the world's largest asset manager has started to dabble in Bitcoin. So this company, BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, they're thinking about getting into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Didn't give too much away, but they're thinking about it. Next. Article number 3 is also by CNBC. The headline reads, Bitcoin at 1 million. Some analysts are bullish, but others warn of risks. So basically, here, Anthony Pompliano, a famous Bitcoin bull, is saying that Bitcoin has the potential to reach between 500,000 to 1 million by the end of the decade. And of course, he's citing reasons like that, reasons I talk about a lot on the channel. It's decentralized, it's deflationary, there's a fixed supply. The supply gets cut in half every 4 years. It's turned into digital gold or gold 2.0. On the other hand, you have one JP Morgan strategist warning that a major risk could be retail flows into Bitcoin are going to dry up because economies reopen. So, if you're, lucky enough to still have a job during this time, you might be sitting at home. There's basically nothing to do. So you might be saving a little bit more money, a bit more time to research what Bitcoin is and maybe investing. So people are actually investing because of that. But with the economies opening up, maybe people won't have as much money, and that money would actually flow out of Bitcoin again. Now, what's really interesting about this article is that they state that in January, JP Morgan released a note to clients putting a theoretical long-term price target on Bitcoin of 146,000 as Bitcoin begins to compete with gold. Now, how did they arrive to that figure was that they're saying that some people are turning away from gold and into Bitcoin as a store of value or an investment. They're saying that there's 2.7 trillion of privately owned gold, and for Bitcoin's market cap to reach that would have to hit a price of 146,000. That's interesting because JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon were once notoriously bearish on Bitcoin, didn't want to hear about it. Quick question. Do you own any Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies? Let me know in the comment section down below with a thumbs up. The comment section. It's the thing below with all the scammers in it. The fourth article is by MarketWatch. The headline reads, is Bitcoin headed to 100,000 in 2021 or is the price unsustainable? He says it's a simple supply and demand issue. Only 900 new Bitcoins are mined or created every day, but companies are buying more than the 900 every day. Now, he does go on to issue a bit of caution saying that Bitcoin can suddenly, topple from 20 to 50%, but we kind of knew that already. This part is hilarious. Meanwhile, a research note from JP Morgan Chase & Co. published on Tuesday indicated that Bitcoin's volatility makes the price around 48,000 unsustainable. Wasn't there a few weeks ago where they were saying it'll never go above 20 or 30,000 again? Okay, I thought this was interesting. When I was doing some research for this episode, I was just Googling Bitcoin, seeing what news was out there. And look, the first article, rte.e, so that's Irish. The third one's Irish. The fourth one's Irish. The fifth, sixth, 7, and usually even though I'm in Ireland, there usually isn't that much Bitcoin related news from Irish newspapers and stations and stuff like that. Just thought that was interesting. All right, taking a look at one of these Irish articles. Right, so this is the Central Bank Governor Gabriel McClough, and he's compared Bitcoin to TULIP Mania. Now, so basically in this article, he says he says he wouldn't invest in it. He kind of stopped short at advising, telling other people not to invest in it. He said, look, it's not for him, but some people think it's a good bet. Then he goes on and compares what's happening in Bitcoin now to TULIP Mania 300 years ago. Flowers. I understand it's the classic example of a bubble, but I think maybe it's time to stop comparing Bitcoin to flowers. They're two very, very different things. Just want to show you something here. April 10th, 2020, 161,500 Bitcoins were sent in one transaction. That's 1.1 billion. It cost $0.68, cost 68 cents. They're not the same thing. That brings us to the main focus of this episode, how to trade altcoins to get more Bitcoin. And I'm going to show you how to do this using Ethereum, Polkadot, CHAINLINK and CARDANO. I hold all these coins in my portfolio for 3 reasons. Number 1, they have good fundamentals. Number 2, I believe they're going to increase in terms of US dollar value. Number 3, I believe they're going to increase in Satoshi or Bitcoin value. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at Ethereum, Polkadot, CHAINLINK and CARDANO, but priced in US dollars. So this is the weekly Kraken chart. This is Ethereum priced in US dollars, and as you can see, it's increasing, and it's at an all-time high of 1920. This is Polkadot priced in US dollars at an all-time high. This is the launch, so I don't really include that, because usually if these projects launch, they're priced, they take a bit of a dump. But look at that, that's pretty much an all-time high, up around $32. Chainlink versus the US dollar, it's clearly going up towards an all-time high. Just hit an all-time high last week. It's clearly increasing in value. And Cardano, well, Cardano has been on pretty much a rampage. So that's 4 coins all increasing in US dollar value and hitting all-time highs in the last few weeks. Now, the second thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the exact same 4 coins on the same weekly time frame, but we're going to price them, instead of US dollar, we're going to price them in Satoshis or Bitcoin. So here you have 1 ETH will get you 0.03692 Bitcoin. So the chart kind of starts off very, very high and then drops down. So that's where we are now. So it's decreasing in value. It's actually very, very low. It's undervalued against Bitcoin. This is Polkadot priced in Satoshis. Similar, drops very, very low, has a bit of a rally, so it's not as bad, but still undervalued against Bitcoin. Now this is the Chainlink chart priced in Bitcoin. Did have a bit of a rally there in the summer, peaked out about August, but then of course Bitcoin went on a rampage, and then this the value basically dropped off. So this the Chainlink's another example of one that's undervalued against Bitcoin. And finally we have the Cardano and Bitcoin pair. So still looks very, very undervalued against Bitcoin. So it has kind of its launch, drops off, bit of a rally, rejection, bit of a rally, rejected. And so here it's case kind of break through this resistance and go on a run against Satoshis. Okay, this is the most important part. This is how you would trade undervalued altcoins to get more Bitcoin. And I'm going to explain this using Polkadot. Right, so what I did was on the 2nd of January, I'll explain what I did and explain what you could do, because you probably don't care too much about what I did. So on the 2nd of January, I traded a certain amount of Bitcoin for 250 dots. Now, if I was to trade that back now, because DOT has rallied 116% against Bitcoin, you basically have doubled up, right? So I'll explain that again in a different way. Let's just say I used 1 Bitcoin. I didn't. And you traded that 1 Bitcoin on an exchange for Polkadot because you think Polkadot is going to rally against Bitcoin. Polkadot has rallied so much, it's rallied 116%. You would now have 2 Bitcoin if you traded it back to Bitcoin. It's actually quite simple. So find undervalued coins that you think are going to increase in value. I like to, as I said already, find ones with good fundamentals that might actually rally against Bitcoin, but more importantly, rally against Bitcoin. Make the trade, wait until the increase, and then trade them back. Of course, there's always the risk that that coin would just completely fall off the face of the earth. It could fall off. You could lose US dollar value. You could lose Satoshi. It mightn't work out, but that's up to you doing your own research. And if you look at it now, Polkadot is in price discovery mode against Bitcoin because it's never actually been up here. That was just a launch, so I don't count that. So we don't know how high that's going to go. So I could take my profits now back into Bitcoin or cash out, whatever, or I could just let this ride. The smart thing to do would be take out the original amount of Bitcoin and then let this go because it's doubled up. So I could take out the exact amount of Bitcoin I put in and leave the rest in there. Then it's an actual risk-free investment. Hope this helps. Okay, folks, that's the end of this episode. And I just want to take this opportunity to say a massive congratulations to anyone out there holding Bitcoin right now. And thank you to anyone who's watched the videos, liked the videos, or subscribed to the channel. If you're watching this right now and you're not subscribed, maybe you'll consider it. It really does help me grow the channel. So thank you very much. And as usual, Shlancha. Bye 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 bye.